Look at this, guys. See, so three things happened. I got into psychedelics, which, uh, rather than most people going, only see faces when there be a person, it allows you in your mind to attribute face-like qualities to objects, including thought qualities. To my own mind, when I have involved, let's say, the Rainbow Guardians of Light, which is something I did a few. Oh, I've got a crazy story about this. So sorry, this is not TikTok. I can't reverse it to my face. I guess I can do this while I'm telling you this story. But hi. Um, there was a book by Amora Kuan Yin who is said to have died. I don't know how common in California faking your death is for the world stage. It might be a secret only known in California. But anyway, the reason I say that is a woman showed up who had she had titties. She was stacked. Anyway, the two of them on either side of my house. Actually, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, um, I'd done a Mora Kuan Yin's. She was a writer and a channeler, and I used to work. I worked as a psychic for 2 weeks in Mount Shasta, and what I found immediately is this: is I couldn't help people have the life they wanted if I didn't have it myself. No matter what I promised, no matter what I said, yeah, you could pray for a person, but, you know, I needed to have the palaces and the massive stacks of cash and all that. And to me, to earn it through promising people a better future and pretending to read their history just didn't feel like it didn't feel like it was the most efficient way to get done what I wanted to get done. So anyway, there were a few good stories of there. I guess this will be a story episode. Anyway, let's show you my card. Yeah. Subliminals, right? And so, in my mind, people go, don't go pleasure, I go, do go pleasure. It's like this, right? So, Jackie Chan, the slavers keep you in pain. The, Christianity is 100% a slave cult. Most of its main themes and declarations are just not cosmic truth, they just don't matter. Anyway, check out that one. I just did that one earlier. Yeah. This has been several things. I always erase it when I'm done. Not always. I've slept in it before. The first few nights that I did like really good work across my whole body, I slept in it. I was so proud. I was like, I'm gonna sleep. I slept in Sharpie. That was strange. Anyway, yeah. Oh yeah. So I did. Oh, there's the two Raven couple again. They just came back. They gave me a gawk and fucking returned. Nice, good birds. They said hi. They like me. I left them some. I left them some food. Done that before. I'm gonna get some more and I'll leave it to them. But yeah, there's nothing out here. There was a fox that came out. It was really fun. This fox, just like, he came to my door and he went, right? And I opened it and I just looked with my light and I lightened his eyes and he was there and I threw him food and he gobbled it all up. He got like a lot of beef jerky. And then I left him some soda too and he drank it all. Yeah. Um, just a little bit. It was like partially soda, part water. I figured some sugar water would be like a unique treat for him. But yeah, bodies are way stronger than people think. Like there were these mushrooms that were growing in Flagstaff, and I just ate them. I took a video of them and I ate them. Well, later people were like, those are death cap mushrooms. They'll kill you. And like, when do they kill you? In like 1 to 3 days. Well, how long was it? It was like 6 months. So I was like, okay, so I can just eat deadly mushrooms and nothing happens. Yeah, I've been around anthrax, all sorts of stuff. I'm living, a living being. And the secret to my immortal immune system is mental attitude. I had an out of body experience. I had an enlightenment experience. I had an enlightenment experience so profound, it stayed with me and gave me magic powers. You know what I mean? It wasn't a hallucination. And it wasn't that religion is utterly untrue. It was that these were emotional beings speaking to what they thought and felt. And that's just how it is. So that's how I am too. I don't pretend to be objective, but I also don't pretend that my source is far from me. Anyway, oh yeah, the Amora Kuan Yin story. This is a good one. Yeah. Well, I'll just say what she said or what happened. She has meditations that, so she does a guided, this is what I'm seeing, this is what it feels like. This is what I'm seeing, this is what it feels like. And she talks to beings, any being from history like Hermes. It's kind of assumed by most people that the universe doesn't exist absent of some, uh, reason for it or purpose for it, right? Um, Purpose like a tool, purpose like a simulation, right? Uh, and so they give this being basically the attribute of responsibility. It more or less understands when you're trying to contact it, and it'll show up, and this being also supports souls. It's the reason beings, like, to me, one of the things that makes me not believe in a soul is when you see a sea of 100,000 individual creatures. Does each of them go on and reincarnate as something else? Like, either it's the most stupendous thing of all time, or it's just reincarnation is quite simply a fancy. There's no reincarnation. I am my body. The sensing, feeling person is right here and right here only. But which is interesting. Um, anyway, there's a perplexing thing, and I've wondered if maybe I was too loose with my ideas. Is that when it became known that, or I'd done a meditation, which was I just can't help but feel like that someone incidentally saying, like me incidentally saying to someone that I read a Maura Kuan-Yin's book. Anyway, Mount Shasta was all about that. That's where she lived. And I ended up asking ayahuasca to go there, and ayahuasca gave it to me. When I first showed up, ayahuasca says, or I have this great feeling and say it's going to work good. I went up to talk to, this is just, you can't make this up, right? Maybe it exists in how thoughts create energy and how we sense each other's thoughts. Because human beings certainly have the ability to see each other's imaginations. And this was demonstrated so clearly to me in so many profound episodes that I found that's the secret only the cool people know. And that's the secret the cool people keep to themselves. And one of the reasons why all the cool people don't go seeking anyone for problems is they're focused on like what they like and enjoy right there. They're not worried about who's done what. They don't waste their time going after it. To my perception right now, all the law keepers and all the defenders are parasites who use the fear of others as a racket to keep themselves going. That's my opinion. On the good side, they are truly they are people who have experienced pain at the hand of others and have sworn to do something about it. That's epic. People who genuinely want to help, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, you can let it be what it is. So anyway, um, I saw this woman twice. She came to a fairy garden. I hope she's not my stalker. I don't know if I have any stalkers. Hope they're not too clever to be able to like track my car at night when I don't know they're there or something. Hope my own ghosts protect me anyway. I can pretend to be psychic, but I've failed to win the lottery, and I have, I've still seen things that I didn't expect to see and surprised me, right? So, is it still going? Yeah, it's still going. Nice. Video forever, right? You get to see me for all time. Unless something happens in my YouTube, I'm going to be around. So, anyway, um, I did these meditations where I consciously called upon, and I did all meditation has to do with, they tell you what's happening, then you have to visualize it happening. And the visualization makes it sort of happen. And it's a curious point because, see, the problem is with Maura Kuan-Yin's thing is I had told probably 3 or 4 people, and so the author of the book or the owner of the thing could have found out who I am and where I was and where I lived and all that, right? I just went out there and told people who I am and what I'm about, and I attracted the people, and it happened to be whoever's owning her establishment now, which yeah, they set up shop right next to my house. I was like, who are you? But it also could have been incidental because right next to my building was a sort of open spaced residential area where someone as small as the book publisher could have set up. But I did find it remarkable that I did the meditations in the town and they moved the headquarters right next to me. I wonder if the woman wasn't just a lusty witch looking for an easy target. She didn't have me in that way. See, my whole thing is if I have a kid, I'm going to raise him or her great. They're going to have a great social life and tons of money. it is worth my abstinence to not mess that up. To make a kid who's in poverty, in bodies, if society has said your body sucks, we don't like it, you better figure that the fuck out before you have children, because you can't use them as the support for your own well-being. Because what happens is jealousy gets in, and then if a family's kicking around just in their own space too long, they don't get out of it, it gets really bad. Like, you have to be good parents, you have to be social lights, you know what I mean? Like, you're out there sharing, you're laughing with friends, and the energy of your life is always increasing and always improving, and things are thriving, right? You don't want to have a family in hermit mode, in utter isolation, or you'll make people like me. You know what I mean? Um, I prefer, most definitely, a sense of freedom in my life, and I prefer, most definitely, the ability to interact with anyone and to do anything I want. How long have I wanted to have a jet ski? Forever. I've never been on a jet ski. A rich person wouldn't have that problem. They'd be like, I have a diamond plated one. You know what I mean? Like, the wealthy are extremely wealthy. The wealthy are on the receiving end of business. You know what I mean? So, yeah. In my opinion, the five-star hotel, most five-star hotels are really three-star hotels that have a reputation. And most two-star hotels or one-star hotels are really like three or four-star hotels. It's clean enough and it's nice. Where it gets into like real one-star territory is when you have like live-in homeless people, and then you have drug dealers and stuff like that. Then that's not a bargain, you know what I mean? But the only people who go for bargains, I'm sure it's average, right? Oh, I bet there's people. I bet the celebrity for like who's had the richest bottle of wine is probably in the millions. It's like, yeah, I'd imagine that you'd have just that. You're right. Anyway, what am I talking about? Stuff. But yeah, I did this meditation at my home, and I did tell 3 or 4 people in town that I had done it. So word could have gotten around to the owner that it happened. But what I like to think is, I like to think it was mere circumstance that I had done the meditation of calling on the Rainbow Guardians of Light, which is very interesting because they have 12 of them, and they all cover different bands of activity on Earth. And so it's possible to imagine that in all areas of that, I would be plussed up. And I think that my relative level of unpopularity with the populace has to do with I don't think I'm unpopular. I think I'm being technologically suppressed on purpose by like a ruthless moderator, or maybe a male rival that I don't see. I could have a male rival that I don't see in tech land that has that power that suppressed me, um, which would be ordinary for them to do. That wouldn't be an extraordinary thing. Watch my other videos. um, but anyway, yeah, it is remarkable to me that I did these, and the headquarters moved right next door. I just find that so strange that I did the meditation in the book, and the book publisher moved right next door. And so the whole point is that you're making this paranormal contact, right? And then there's the other side, is that what if God is a hallucination and an illusion created by a populace intent on keeping it going? Right, which has been the direction we've been in. You can't ignore things like the Christianity of the world. People who believe that there's been a situation and that we're all going to hell unless you have Jesus. That's the line of it. That's what they believe. That's why they get together. If you drop that belief, Christianity becomes a, so what are we talking about? So who thought what? Which is where it should be. It should be like a, ew, we used to do what to babies? Yeah, you guys have been messed up. Anyway, they do that because they're afraid of men. Because a chimpanzee is a terror. A man is an absolute terror. A man with a gun. I mean, you don't think people aren't afraid of being shot up in public? No, they are in and out, staying home. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I have a system that I like. It's $3,000 a month for everybody, no matter what. The money's not printed at debt; it's printed at worth. We are always closing the gap. We set the limit on wealth as 500 trillion per person. That's the limit on wealth. And when printing 3,000 a month, that's the starting economy. Everybody gets it. You get more if you sell something, obviously, and you get more if you work, right? And so the things that I've seen with employment and jobs is that people who are cared for will care for their country. They'll care about it. And what I've seen too is they will care about the job they do without necessarily caring if it's like high paying or low paying, because everyone's equal. And I think that would take care of the economy. Items and wages would stay literally the same because people are still interested in earning more. 3,000 a month is enough that you won't starve, right? It's so basic to be included among us. I just don't think it could be said to be anything more than rational. And we'll always know that we're way far away from our maximum cap limit because of, let's look at me, right? I got invested in. Elon Musk got invested in. When? Not before we got invested in. After we got invested in, we came up with skills, talents, and gifts, right? You want a performer to get better? Clap for them. You want a performer to get worse? Boo for them, you know? Anyway, I think that would solve everything. It would make people feel at least not detested by their own country, at least not hated and resented like they are. Ew, a mouth to feed. You expect this all to come for free? But the reason we are the way we are is because of the Bible and the values in it. I mean, the Bible, let's be real. If 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 the historicity of the Genesis story is completely phooey, if it's literally a tall tale, that somebody with the intent to deceive others created a lineage out of their butts. Because the easiest way to disprove that is the earliness of human archaeology. Like, you have human archaeology up like 300,000 years ago. Excuse me? That means that means it's all that means the Bible is not possible, because if you line up all the years, it's like 4,000 years. And there's even human history on in the natives that's 30,000 years old. So I don't believe it. That's my opinion. I don't believe it. Anyway, yeah, so the Bible's a hoax. You don't need to care about. Where was I going with this? But there just seemed to be a mystical power. I'd say that the author of the Bible was an occult magician who had an eye. He knew his own personal will, and he decided to let himself create in life based on what he wanted and needed, which is kind of a serial killer's attitude, the way he went about it. Oh yeah, but people were afraid of men because men are gigantic animals. Men are actually literally terrifying. The only people on planet Earth who could appreciate men are scared of men because of men just have just a stature that no other creature really has. Like, if you don't think a man couldn't go toe to toe with a silverback, like, let's talk about hearing, let's talk about vision. The sight radius and the hearing radius given by science is about 30 feet, right? It's about 30 feet, which is excessively small. The actual reality could be hundreds of thousands or even infinite feet. If you succeed in meditation and silence, you'll see that you can actually hear and see everything that's happening. So that knowledge is interesting. Some would say it's impossible, but it has to do with transcendental superhelp. That to a person seeing a spirit in nature, it's like seeing a hologram, but this thing can influence nature in a way that is perceptible. Anyway, I believe it. Anyway, I can't make it up that, sober is the eye. This, who are people? God. I'm not for trannyism. Trannyism is an abandonment of your original self without faith in your own constitution. I've seen its effects, and I have to say, it's remarkably toxic. Think about it. If you can't accept yourself, how am I going to accept you? You couldn't even accept who you were. How could I accept you? That explains it. I had this strange man shout at me, and this person had the most unpredictable behavior ever. As soon as they were shouting, I was like, this is their desperate attempt to get my attention. And it was that way, but I've just considered that there was a sign I saw where, you could have the most gorgeous woman on earth become an ugly, hideous man just because she can't find a partner worthy of her ideal self. Which is a strange thing, and I think men do that too. Men become women because they basically feel unworthy of the person they'd like to have, so they'd rather become her. But in a way, those are like some of the strongest cons. Like, there are people who are just ruthless agitators who used to be, you're going to physically change your body to look like the opposite gender. That person is unnerved in some degree. I can't. Maybe they're super adventurous poets. Like, the height of trannyism is that you would love a man like you knew you wanted to be loved while you were a man, and you can now because you're a woman, I suppose. But the problem is you're XY, buddy. You're not XX. XX is the female. That's the stable ground. XY is like that's the male. But life's an adventure. I don't hate pioneers. People who want to try something new, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. But I would definitely not. I would definitely not put transsexualism as the highest root of intellectual awareness, although it is profound to say that this is the first time we've been able to do that. So as soon as it was available, people were willing. They're like, I want to change my gender. Female to male and male to female is, wow. You could write stories and study them, make sure they give plenty of interviews about who they are and what they think, so you have plenty to digest, because it's brand new on Earth. It's an experiment and never done. They said because hating trannies is so wrong, we're just gonna let them do it, just like right out of the gate. I can't even use steroids to get bigger muscles, but they can fucking swap genders. Excuse you. That's so. Their values are so strange in this place. So, wow. Well, it's gonna be good. Yeah, it does explain it. So the reason I was thinking about a tranny is I do have a very good psychic presence, and there was a gorgeous woman in line who had she had an ethereal penis, she had a boner, you right, and she was a real woman. Like you can't be a man and have a frame like that. She was a real woman, but she had it, and there was this other strange dude, male pattern baldness. I looked like Jeffrey Dahmer. He tried to scream at me on the street, but oh man, I would have choked him the fuck out. The person just had nails. He was ugly and shitty. But it just occurred to me just now, because I saw when he walked up to me screaming that he had the same psychic boner. I've never seen that ever except for on two people. And one was a female and the other was a male. One was working at a fast food, the other one was living in my building and was screaming. And so this person had the weirdest change of heart. It was just psychotic in a way I never expected. And it was just because of the two signs of the ethereal boner that I think that person may have been a transsexual. She may have been a girl to guy, which is a terrible waste of a wonderful person. Oh my God, what a monster. I can't even, like, the person really was seriously fucked up. If you changing to a man will drop all that person's feminine instincts and she's going to become a fucking tyrant, which is very strange, but yeah, it's a lot of being a man. You have to wrestle constantly with this inner instinct that makes you want to conquer everything and rule it all, and that's because the humans who did that, had a lot of kids. The traits that make someone a winner now become common. I haven't seen this ever expressed in evolutionary theory. I mean, I could walk into Harvard or something and probably be respected, but people always ask who or what you are, what degree do you have? Excuse me, I'm not my title. But that's what they're there for. They know they're all smart too, and so they need a title to prove it to others, because I'm not listening to them. I don't care where anyone starts talking into me. It's too dummy stupid for me to have to follow along. I just don't care. I knew you the moment I saw your aura. All the other talking is fluff, swindling, hooking. Like, a fisherman doesn't care about the fish. The fisherman does not care about the fish. The fisherman uses bait not to feed the fish, but to put a hook in its mouth that it can't get out and will kill the fish. You know what I mean? Like, it's as like all these advertisements, all those fake scam girls. Like, the reason I meet women in real life that are really cute and like me. But again, like that tranny thing, I can't be sure that they are women. Like, I just don't know anymore. And I hate it that nobody can tell. And they all hate it if you ask. You're not allowed to ask if a man's a man or woman are born that way. You just have to know, right? I just get tipped off so many different ways. Anyway, they aren't that populous, It's like less than 1%. You can usually bet if it's a woman, it's not. It is a woman, and etc. But anyway, ugh. Strange ethereal thing, the fucking permanent boner expressed on the genes. It's like a pocket. It was like a pocket boner. I think the woman in line, because she wasn't giving any sexual advances or anything. I think she was gonna become a tranny. Like, what a waste of a beautiful person. Like, ugh, women, do not, guys, don't change your bodies. Work on accepting yourselves. Think about how fucking ridiculous you are. You want to change physically who you are and then demand respect and acceptance from others? What? Yeah, maybe again, I'll give you the respect of being a pioneer. It's never been done before. Good for you. But I don't have to like you if I don't want to, because I remember me, I'm an evolutionary creature. I want to mate and have sexual success. Men are given respect of territorialism, right? That's your property. It's proper that you have it. It's yours, right? And people are all. You could have the most lonely, isolated narcissist in the world fighting all day. The moment it comes to the outside, well, get off my property, get the fuck out of here. He's not protecting anything. There's great books on people that reference that. Um, yeah, thoughts are thoughts. Anyway, there's great books on people that reference that people who actually have a lot of money, time, respect, and integrity have a lot of openness toward others, and they're friendly. If Tom Cruise came to your grocery store, he'd be waving hi and saying like, "Hello, hello, I'm Tom Cruise," all that stuff. He wouldn't be like, "I don't know you, who are you, don't talk to me," which is how most people are. Most people are pretending they have somewhere more important to be. But people who are actually important are representatives. They are. Tom Cruise, when he goes out, he sells movies all over again. He's selling his career. He wants people to like him, right? He's not going to go out there and be a D-bag. He's not going to go there and close off his energy, I don't think, at least. Um, and there's always, like, functions of space. Like, sometimes you just have to do something else. But, anyway, yeah, good talk. Interesting subjects. I covered the move next to my house when I did the meditation. I did the meditation from the book, and the publisher opened the publishing studio right next door. Like, moved in shop. And I was like, "Oh, you've been here the whole time?" Like, "No, we just moved in 2 weeks ago." And I was like, "Oh, interesting. I have your book." And she didn't say anything. So I don't know if no, she wasn't following me. Like, I saw her twice incidentally. That's not a stalker. I think she was doing her own thing. Anyway. Yeah, you can be a pioneer in transgenderism, but if you couldn't accept your natural self, how do you think I'm going to accept your augmented self? I don't have to. And I don't like harassers going out there like, all right, there's a predatory type of man who becomes a she-male, then goes out there and uses she-male status to shame and cuck other men, all for sleeping with women. It's strange. It's an aggressive type of person, and it matters because it is what gets to the woman who's protected and who can get by. And being a woman, octopuses do that. Octopuses pretend to be women in front of rival males, so the rival male doesn't think anything of it. And there's a lot of women who know that. Sex games is huge. A lot of what we consider all actions and all attitudes and behaviors, like the morality of the Bible might be said to be human morality. It's how we feel about it based on our evolutionary course, what's worked, what hasn't, things like that. So, but it's sure to me that the circumcision is said to be cleaner, but that's really aggressive and offensive because in my mystical studies, I've seen tremendous secret wisdom and knowledge in dirt. Like people who actually know what dirt really is from the view of God. And if God is everything, then God would be all the dirt too. Is that I was allowed to see the secret wisdom in it, and what I learned is I learned how powerful it actually is as just an expression of what we consider geometry. And so my discovery with art, the reason I'm so sublime and perfect with art is because I discovered essentially a series of basically the line in the tube are the composite features of all universal happening. You don't need anything more than the line in the tube. And in a way, it's just sort of a swishy circle. And that was the most zen moment in my life, learning to draw. There was probably about 2 weeks of preamble, and then there was a sudden surge of capacity as I got it. And that was the getting it that I know other people have done too. And one of the things I like about free drawing is my work is uniquely my work. I like its heady, edgy energy. I like the closeness of it. I'm not wasting any space. I like that it has multiple modular angles, and I like that it's best done as an ambush piece. It's best done when you just see it in a flash, and depending on the feelings of the person is how it'll look, right? Like if you see a person and the thing looks like squiggly lines, it means the person is insecure. They don't feel accepted. They don't feel good enough as they are, right? It's sort of a mood piece. But if it looks like extremely haughty and edgy and forward and intelligent, that means you're power impressing someone. They let them know you're meeting God. They know who they are, right? So anyway, it can be seen in different moods, and it is meant to be stunningly amazing. Like a work no one else has been able to do, not quite like I do it. Um, and I'm proud of that. So I've seen a lot of free drawers, and they're all quick in their own way, but they all do something different. And I definitely think my swoosh painting is unique to me, at least me and Dennis and people of my lineage. So I had a master. He taught me very quickly, and I recognized something great was going on. And it was years and years later I'd do it myself, but it was like prophecy completed, right? So yeah, getting alone and having my own time was important. If you're a human and you've just gone from being a child to being a slave of the system, which that's all public education, system enforcement, guys. The very best, like you've there's no real sharing attitude in education. It comes with the hubris of saying you would have been wrong on your own, or you need to be here, right? Which is just absolutely antithetical to how it actually works. So that's why I call it slave entrainment. It's because you're better without that impression. You're more raw and natural and more capable. And so education is there just telling you, oh, the poor are stupid without it. They need to hear this. And then it's like every 50 years they have to rewrite half of it. So what was it there for? I was sitting around putting things in my head and trying to memorize it to please people who would never be pleased with me, because me being stupid was the gag. That was the selling point, is, oh, this dummy doesn't know how to do it. They get you in convincing you you'd be a moron without it, and you'll waste your whole life. You will never come to a point ever in any lecture ever where the whole thing makes sense unless you just think it does. That's a world of a thing. You realizing that not sometimes what you consider the physical action to remedy something isn't what fixed it. It's just the fact that you felt like it ought to be fixed anyway, and therefore it was. So this is how people like have through feeling won money, or manifestation works. It's kind of a living dream. And then seeing these paranormal creatures, right? Like I did the wisdom meditation to gain access to the yeah, if you're psychic, why don't you read it? I've proposed the 5-digit Nero's One Raven.